Welcome back, everybody, to the Wild Faith Podcast. My name is Evan Bungham. I have my co-host, Luke Timmons, with me here today. We are on episode 69. We are about to celebrate the 4th of July. Luke, how are we doing today?
Doing good. Yeah. We're a day closer to the move, so...
That's good.
Better. Yep.
I feel like these last couple weeks, and I'm sure everybody listening has probably maybe felt or noticed that with us, we've been kind of living in a nutshell of where Luke's been on the verge of a big move, and I'm on team no sleep. So it's been fun, but we're still pumping out content and making it happen.
Yep. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's been good.
That's good. Yeah, no, exciting times. But no. So today we just kind of want to chat a little bit about talking about, like, why does freedom matter? Like, what is freedom to us? What is 4th of July to us? How is this, this is such a celebratory time for our country. It's probably one of the biggest holidays, I would say, in the United States outside of, Christmas and Easter and Halloween. I mean, this is probably this is the GOAT.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me, Luke, what does freedom mean to you?
Means barbecues, fireworks. No.
Amen.
Yeah, those are all good things. But no, I mean, it just means the ability to just live your life. You get one chance at it and it's short. And so you just need the ability to, live it in a manner in which you see fit. And, I think we're very blessed to be in a country like, the United States, where we do have a lot of freedoms, and, we have the freedom of religion, all this stuff, where we're, some days it does feel like the government is very much so overstepping and entrenching on our lives. But at the same time, when you look at other places in the world, where we take for granted a lot of things, and it gets pretty old when people start to forget that.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, kind of the reason I just sparked this one too is I felt maybe it's a little fitting for us, and talking just a little bit about, like, the founding fathers. Like, why did 4th of July happen? And actually, I think they signed the Declaration on the 2nd. I don't think it was on the 4th. But I just look at it where our core beliefs of our country are rooted in faith for the most part, I would say. And, truly our freedom doesn't come from God, or excuse me, our freedom comes from God. It doesn't come.
Whoa, buddy.
Well, we got that wrong. Our freedom comes from God. It doesn't come from the government. But I think our founding fathers had our best interest in that when they created this. And it's just interesting to me where we're at in today's times. I feel like, as Christians, I used this word earlier, and I'm going to say it again. I feel like as time and time goes on, we keep getting more ostracized in our own environment, our own country, of where we're kind of getting, not necessarily crucified, but we're kind of getting into a point of where we're a singular group now, and we're not really all united like we used to be. But that's the great thing about the United States. I feel is like, we have that ability to be free and make our own free will choices. But I do still think, like, talking about that, like, I just think our core beliefs of how our country was founded on, biblical teachings and scripture. And I think that's a little bit to why maybe part of our society today is a little distant.
Because we've gone away from that, or?
Yeah, I just feel like, or there's maybe like that not meshing. I just feel like, I look back, thinking of like when we signed and we broke free from Britain and stuff, we were one. There was one. And then you think of, like, bringing in the topics of wars, because that's pretty trendy right now. But like World War I, World War II, like, we united together as a country for the greater good of mankind, But I feel like in today's times, we've separated ourselves tremendously from that. And, we got people that want to dismantle our declaration. They want to take away certain rights and freedoms that we've had since the beginning of this country that it's got started. But I think it's a great question, though, is like, what does freedom mean to you? Because I feel like it could be different for anybody. And that's the great thing about America,
Yeah, I mean, probably one of the greatest presidents of all time, Mr. Ronald Reagan. I think he talked about, I just read his autobiography a couple months back, but talked about how we are one nation under God.
Mm-hmm.
And that if we ever forget that, we'll be a nation that's gone under.
That's a good one.
Pretty relative.
Well, it's a good one. And I mean, it's true. And I think it's just one of those things where I just look at it. We're so blessed to live in the United States, and we're truly blessed to have the opportunities and the freedoms that we do have. And I mean, that's just such a good description of where we kind of got to walk that fine and narrow line, but of how I think as a country, Christianity, I do think is making a swing and a comeback, and it is this cool, trendy thing now. And I think the more people that can buy into what we're trying to make this country into again, of where we are standing behind our beliefs and our moral values and sticking up for what we originally based our freedoms on,
Yeah.
So, a little more lighthearted stuff. What are some of the funner traditions you guys try to do for the 4th of July?
Well, I always do like the fireworks and that kind of thing. Nothing too crazy.
Nice.
Probably looking forward, not this year because we're not moving till after the 4th, but in summers to come, getting out on the river, having River Day or something.
Nice. Does La Crosse have any like big festivals or anything like that over the 4th?
Yeah, they got Riverfest.
Nice.
So that's the whole park on the river there that has live music, basically 3 days all day.
Nice. Yeah, I think of like 4th of July as a kid back home. It really wasn't a whole lot. I have some pretty fond memories with my dad of doing fireworks because it was just lawless. I'll never forget when we had a box of outdated fireworks that I don't know if they were from the year prior or what they were. And somehow they ended up on a campfire. And it was literally like a war broke out. There was Roman candles shooting out in 16 different directions and just chaos. But yeah, no, it's been fun living up in Lake Country celebrating the 4th now because you could get out on a boat on any lake and see fireworks from any direction.
Oh yeah.
And nothing I mean, like you're sitting in the boat, people are blaring Toby Keith. I mean, it's just like it's a complete vibe. And it's a lot, I would say it's a little bit more entertaining than it was as a kid where we were just shooting off firecrackers in the front yard.
Yeah, but you remember that stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're excited to be kicking off July now. I mean, we just went through 2 months of pretty in-depth mental health awareness and Men's Mental Health Awareness Month topics and just really kind of diving into that. So it's definitely going to be fun getting to more lighthearted content now and kind of getting refocused back in for fall, which is crazy. It's literally around the corner. It's not that far away.
Couple months,
man. I mean, speaking of that, I mean, it's time. I mean, I wouldn't say it's too early to have cameras out. I have cameras out now. I don't have them in the places I want them to be, but I do have cameras out. So I have seen a couple bucks, but we usually don't see any shooters on our farm till about August. Maybe you get a couple stragglers that come through, but this is a great time to get out and start glassing for velvet bucks, though.
Yeah, no, really it is. I mean, there's, the corn's not too high. Same with obviously the beans. So and they stick out like a sore thumb because they're orange right now. So with anybody that wants to kind of maybe get into that haven't done that before, do you have any tips? I know you were pretty diligent about scouting this spring for turkeys in a similar matter, but any like tips that you'd recommend for anybody that wants to get out and scout velvet bucks? Crop fields, talking more into August and even early September, beans, because they're green and once they turn yellow, they're that's it. So, I mean, I would just get out, start driving around maybe an hour, half hour at the earliest, but half hour before sundown and just back roads. I mean, like for me, like I don't want to be in the woods really at all because I was filming a vlog with doing some dog training stuff the other day, and it was like, I mean, you can literally see in the video, it felt like I was in
Vietnam.
Just like the swamp of Canada because it was just, it was terrible. But yeah, so I mean, and you got yeah, it's hot. So unless I'm doing food plot stuff or prepping, tree stands and stuff, I don't do any scouting probably really like in, the woods where I'd be hunting or something, but just a lot of glassing from the truck at this point. I mean, I've done it too, where you get out of the truck if there's a spot, like, or if there's like a nook or cranny in a field that you can't, see from the road, going into the bean field a bit and just sitting in the beans, with tripod and glass. And, here it's pretty easy, like it doesn't take too long to find deer. It gets flat and there's not much, for them to hide unless they're in the woods. So you're not like picking up part like a mountainside for a mule deer or something.
Yeah. And, there's some, I think of like those corner pockets of the woods, where you kind of get that U shape. I think those are great spots, especially like the shaded spots where shaded beans are. I look at it like for those bachelor groups that are out there now too. This is a great time if you do get onto a group of remembering which deer or with which deer. If you got same local bucks that are around, because you can kind of pick up. It's like, oh, it's that same 8-pointer. Well, there's that big 9 that's with him too. Where it's this is a fun. This is where the times that I do get to get home, which hasn't happened yet this spring/summer for me yet, but where normally it's like, all right, Nora, I'm taking my daughter. We're jumping in the truck. We're going to go drive around. We'll see how many deer we can see that night. And then it's kind of starting to put the puzzle pieces together. And I think it's only happened a couple of times where I've seen a target buck, maybe a mile or 2 miles away from the farm, or a couple other farms that we've had where we've seen those deer. You see them maybe once or twice, and you get those perfect nights where you can get the pressure right, where the deer are really, really on their feet. But I love watching velvet deer because for the most part, they don't care that you're there as long as you're not on boots on the ground with them. But if you're in a truck and you're glassing from them from a distance, it's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, good way to inventory. What's your stance on summer bucks on your property, though?
Yeah. Good and bad. I look at it, if you got deer in the summertime, they'll probably be back sometime middle of the rut. But unless you're in that top 5% properties where, you got deer year round. For where we're at in farm country, it's kind of unique because I might see a deer that's 2 miles away from the farm in the summertime, but I know he's going to be back. I could see him maybe one evening on a bean field closer to the farm, say maybe like half a mile from the farm, or even, a bean field that we do have in the farm, see him there. He might stroll through once or twice in that summer. And if it just works out where I catch him coming through there, he's not consistently there, but it can go either way. I mean, it could be good or bad. You might have a crack at him that first 2 weeks and then he's gone. Or, you might get one sighting of him and then he's going to be on your farm for the rest of the fall. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. But it's not, I would say if they're consistently on your camera and then also, every year it happens where they disappear come September 1st, then there's probably some TSI something or some work that needs to be done.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of where my head went to, just like with that farm we leased for a while. They were there all summer long. And then, about mid-September, early October rolled around. They were gone until late November.
But I think this is a great time though too. I mean, like I kind of adapted Sturgis's method of madness of where it's like for the farm back home, and for the first couple of years we put all these rules in place. It was like we can't do this and can't do that, and it's like, man, well, you just want to enjoy your property too. So it's like I look at it where it's like I have a pretty much a start like a drop dead date of about August 20th, 25th of where it's like I'm done in the woods. I'm done going on the woods, but I look at this time now, like I'm going to bump in there. I'm going to get my food plots done. I'm going to get trail cameras in there. If I'm bumping deer, I'm not worried about it. Take the kids through the woods. It's not a fun time to be in the woods. Like you're saying, bugs are horrible, but it's a great time to get out and just see what's running around, check out velvet bucks, get out some bachelor groups. And, it's a really great time just to see your deer numbers too. I mean, from fawns that have survived through the spring with predation and stuff, it's a good time to get a good deer count.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, for sure. And
it's also a good time to shoot your bow. So do that.
Well, it's always a good time to do that, right?
Yeah, I've been pretty pumped with having a 3D range in my backyard now.
That's nice.
It's kind of fun. It's I'm hopefully we'll see. I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try doing a series similar to like what Bryson DeChambeau did with his golf video, where he was trying to make a hole in one over his house. I haven't figured it out yet of how I want to like narrate the story, but I got to try to come up with some unique shot that I want to be able to try to replicate, day in and day out. So I don't really know how I'm going to do it. So if you guys have ideas, would love to hear it, or suggestions, and then I can just start attempting to make the shots. But it's been kind of fun. It's been a good time for me and my daughter to kind of connect and get out and shoot, but it's also kind of lit a fire underneath me to really start shooting, not just my compound, but I shoot my trad bow way more than I have been, which is good. Which is fun. It's just like, I don't know. It's like how do you feel about that? Like when you get out and shoot your bow, do you have a different demeanor when you're shooting at a 3D target compared to just shooting a block target? Like, does your attitude change, and like, are you just practicing?
I think I have more fun shooting 3Ds, especially if you're doing like a, like a course or something or an event. That's just fun and I feel like honestly I shoot a little bit better too with a 3D target. I don't know if it's just probably a mental thing, but yeah, if I'm just shooting a square block, it kind of gets monotonous and same old. But yeah, when you start mixing in, like going out to a shoot or something, and you're shooting 30 different animal targets, it's kind of fun. So yeah, I definitely prefer the old 3D targets. I saw one at Shields the other day, and it's probably not new, but it was new to me. I was looking at it, and it looks like a Glendale buck, but it's not Glendale. I can't remember. It's another one, but basically it's got like a tag on there where you can download this app, and you can like based on where your arrow is in the target, you can like
see the vitals.
It's like you could probably just guesstimate it, but it's kind of a cool thing, So.
There's a company out there, I can't think of the name too. I want to say maybe it's the same company, but what they have is it's a life-size target of whatever, if it's a moose or an elk or a deer. Jeez. Yeah, it's crazy, but they're life-size prints. But then it has like the soft foam core insert that you put behind like a block target or something like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's maybe the same brand that had, because I've seen that. That was just really cool because it kind of gives you that 3D illustration of like, all right, well, here's how I actually shot. Compared to when you're just burning a hole through your Glendale buck,
Yeah. One thing like that, going down that rabbit hole a little bit of like seeing where your shot, lays out in the body cavity. I cannot remember. It was years ago, and I saw this old YouTube video, and it was just I think it's just some old guy this is how you should shoot, and basically talked about how you need to shoot based on what you're like, shoot for your exit hole. Like, where you may think that actual shot may be good if you just like had a different angle or put it back a little further or forward, based on just how whatever animal you're hunting is situated. But, being at least cognizant of your exit hole. Like, okay, if I shoot him here, it's going to blow through maybe only a third of the lung. But if I shoot this way, or I don't know, shoot this way, I may get both lungs and nick the heart. So it's all part of it, learning, obviously, but it was kind of a cool idea to think of it that way.
And that's the interesting thing too. And like, I know I've had my struggles the last, we'll say 4 years now, of where I thought I've made great shots. I mean, like, not downplaying, like I've shot a lot of big deer in my life. I've only recovered 3 of them. I think of which is hard to say. Like, I think my first year out in South Dakota ever, shot a really big 6x6 and thought I hard punched him low. I'm sure the deer made it. And then I'm trying to think of South Dakota again, big whitetail, high shoulder. This last mule deer last year, that was devastating because that was probably the biggest muley I've ever had a chance to shoot in my life. And I thought he was dead to rights. And I, basically shot right through, well, it's the only shot I had, but this where it's like that app's such a great thing where you try and think of, like you were just talking, thinking about that exit hole, where it's like, my point is, I guess, where it's like, it takes time. You could be a great shot on a range, but it takes time in the moment to be able to judge and understand how, like there's people, I'll just say it, like there's people that are killers and people that aren't killers. There's people that shoot great and there's people that just, they kill freaking deer. And, that's something I guess maybe I gotta keep working on, but that's kind of the whole inspiration of why I got those targets and the keep practicing and getting better. And yeah, I don't know, just try to keep pounding out arrows every week, and highly recommend to anybody out there. This is a great time to pick up your bow in practice and don't stop and practice all the way through the season.
No, for sure. Yeah, I must have used some just old poopy glue that I had laying around when I did my fletchings, but like after shooting now since, turkey season, or, through turkey season and up till about a week or two ago, I think I had 2 arrows out of the 12 I had that had 3 fletches on them, because the fletches just flew off. So I don't know if it was the arrow wrap or the just poopy glue, but or a mixture of both. But yeah, so I had to, this is probably a rookie mistake because I've never used arrow wraps before, but I peeled off 6 of them, and that is not fun, let me tell you.
No,
and I don't think there's really not another way to be able to refletch them if you don't take it off, because you're gonna have
all I know is you could use hot water, like not too hot because you want to wreck the carbon.
Right.
Don't use a flipping blowtorch.
Yeah,
I've seen people do that. I'm like, you're gonna melt your arrow. But yeah, hot water, I've done that one. That seems to be good to get them off. But
try that one. Yeah. So, but no, I'm going down. What I was going with that is, I'm very excited for the new house too, because I already got a spot lined up in my head. Anyways,
nice.
As far as kind of like a little corner of the downstairs basement for a little bow shop.
Nice.
So yeah,
bow shop, podcast studio. Got a range. You can put a range in your backyard now. It's exciting.
Yeah. Lots of options. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, summer. It's dude. It's finally here. Tis the season of family time. Busy weekends, but fall's going to be here fast and approaching. So I'm excited to get home, get food plots tuned up, get ready to get those in. I would have loved to been down there this spring, but we had another blessing come, which is even better. So I'm excited to take my daughters down there and get food plots in here in July and August and kick off the year, man. It should be good. This is probably the first year that I have zero idea of what deer are around. I have no idea. The first time. I feel like every year I've had intel on at least probably the 2 or 3 shooters that live within our section, and then the couple other farms we have, at least knowing about, a couple, 3 or 4 other deer that are around. And, even like the buck I shot last year, I had a picture of that deer from 2 years ago and never saw him again. And we had our number 2 shooter die in the farm this year. Hightower, God, if he's alive, he's a dinosaur. So I don't even know what he's going to look like. And then I think
maybe he'll just have a blow up last ditch effort year.
But if Babe made it, I mean, he's going to be, dude, he'll be a freak if he survives. So, but yeah.
If you had it set up at, like if the farm was where you're living, right? Like what I'm saying? Like if you had the same property where you live now, would you be be the guy that has trail cameras out all year? Because then it's just right in your backyard. It takes you 20 minutes.
I mean, all year, like talking like in season, or like checking cameras in like February.
Well, I mean, it's basically all cell cameras. So, you're not like going out anymore, except maybe to change batteries. But like, yeah, if you just had them obviously up for deer season, but then you just left them out through winter and then had them for turkeys, because there's always a weird, like what is the time, of if you're focusing on deer, what's the time of year to get them in?
Oh yeah. Like I've left cameras up year round multiple times because it's not fact of like, it's just not, I shouldn't say laziness. It's just I haven't had time to go grab them. Right, but it's, for me, it's like, I've had cameras up in June. It's great. I feel like by middle of June, you could definitely tell which deer if you know your deer well.
Oh yeah, easily.
But July is probably my first time that I'm really like actively trying to find these deer, because even like I know with our farm, it's like typically our shooters don't show up until that August 10th, August 12th. It's like clockwork. Usually about every year we'll get that first front that'll blow through, and it's like, okay, there he is. He's alive.
There we go.
Good to know.
Just made it.
So
that's always a fun.
Yes.
I mean, like I said, they're, mostly just on your phone now, but like going through and clicking through and be like, oh, there he is.
Yep.
Made it. Game on.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for that. And I mean, but one other thing I wanted to bring up here before we get into I got some rapid fire 4th of July trivia questions for you, but, hot topic thing, just a little PSA announcement for you guys. Talking about the land grab that's kind of going on right now. How do you feel about that?
It's bullshit. You're elected, to serve your constituents, and I can't really honestly think of any less of a way that you could do that. Senator Mike Lee Republican from Utah, I think he's got his head firmly planted between his cheeks.
From my understanding, it's land that's like adjacent to like actual housing developments. It's not necessarily like federal land or like,
there's a lot of BLM land.
Well, that's the thing. But here's the kicker with it all is like, and I do think the left has spun it in a way of where they've kind of created some propaganda behind this. That's
always, but that's both ways, right?
Yeah, but it's brought it a kind of split the divide, I guess. But in terms of what it really is, though, I look at it where it's like, well, if you give an inch, they're going to take a mile as time goes on. So it's like it shouldn't happen regardless.
No, I mean, we talked about Reagan being one of the best presidents. Well, my favorite president of all time was Teddy Roosevelt. And,
amen.
You can't, that is the founding father for conservation in this country, is, instituted the national park system. He was a hunter, conservationist, rancher, I'm a big Teddy Roosevelt guy, so I could go days on him. But like, kind of going deep a little here is like, so his wife and his mother died, I want to say on the same day, if not day to day, like day and the next day. Yeah. And so like he went and was like, he said, like, the light has gone out from my life. And this is where I'm trying to, the art of the weave here is he kind of just like retreated out to the Badlands of North Dakota, and it was like, it healed him, you know? And that's basically what this podcast is all about too, is like finding that connection with your faith out in nature, because you get the physicalness of being in nature and just spiritually and you just get so much good out of that. And that's where it stemmed from. And so, I mean, Teddy Roosevelt's got to be rolling in his grave right now with, this going on. And like I said, like I'm a conservative guy, and that's where a lot of my political viewpoints land, but I'm not afraid to call a spade, and what, the Senate versus Republican senator from Utah, Mike Lee, is doing. It's like, what? It's like, what are you doing? And granted, when this comes out, who knows where things are at? I know we're recording right now. He just took it back or something and is going to reassess, but it's like, no, you don't reassess, not 1 acre. Because, like, oh, this is going to save us all this, debt, pay off some debt. But it's like, there's a lot of other things that you could, cut instead of, taking away from people.
Well, my thing with
citizens.
My thing with it too is where I think we have to remember as a community is that as big as we think we are for the hunting industry, for the fishing industry, fishing really, I mean, I guess maybe it applies to it a little bit, but like the hunting side of things where it's like population wise, we feel like we're a very vocal group, I would say, like, but we're really we're not that big. So that's what I'm saying. Like every person that can support this matters. Like, you matter in supporting this cause. Like, I don't want people to think like, oh, it's just like voting for, the election. It's like, my vote doesn't matter. It's like, no, it does. Like, they need to hear your voice. Everyone needs to hear our voice, because the moment that this is one of the greatest freedoms that we have, the ability to do this in our country,
Yeah, no, amen, dude. I mean, like I said, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you fall on, because it's like some things are just bigger than freaking politics, and this is one of them. And like you said, yeah, we're the outdoor community is a smaller group of, whatever group, I guess. But when it comes to stuff like this, like we are very vocal. So I looked up the number here, and it's the Senate, I think, just, operator number, but it's 202-224-3121, and it'll put you through, ask for whoever your local senator is and wherever you live across this great country, and tell them to say absolutely not on this one, because it's atrocious.
100%.
To be honest.
100%. Yeah, well, get out there, make your word known. I know we both have, and it's just one of those things that, we kind of got to plant our flag in the ground and say this is where we stand, because I don't want to lose this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, like, there's so many so many places that you and I have traveled in this country that are the only reason we've been able to is because of,
and there's so many places we haven't traveled.
Oh, right. Yeah. Even more. Right. So yeah. Amen, dude. Like, yeah, this one don't make sense to me.
Okay. So I got some fun ones for you now. So these are some just lighthearted.
I got me all fired up.
Lighthearted. I know. Lighthearted 4th of July trivia questions, rapid fire. Here we go. So first one was the Declaration. Sorry. I got me fired up, man. So now I got to bring it up because I forgot to. The other thing too is, people like to poo poo on the outdoor community being, right wing and stuff. But one of the most important things that of all time for conservation, outside of what we just talked about, is the Pittman-Robertson Act. And, I don't know, it's like 10% of all the, there's a 10% tax on firearms, ammunition, all that stuff. And that extra tax on it goes straight back into the conservation. So it's like hunters and anglers and all of us are the biggest conservationists in this country, no matter what people may say. We're not just killers.
No, right, yeah. I definitely haven't been the last couple of years, that's for sure.
But that's very true. I mean, like,
sorry, guys, like, you got me fired up, man. So now I definitely have to bring that one in.
Depending where things go, we'll have a separate podcast, and we will just both we'll do some pre-warm up conversations and get fired up, and we'll just have like a live session.
Live might be dangerous.
All right, here we go. Rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
Declaration was signed on July 4th. True or false?
False.
Correct. It was it's actually the majority of it signed on August 2nd. Or excuse me, July 2nd.
Oh.
August 2nd. Okay, so next one for you. Benjamin Franklin wanted the eagle as our national bird. True or false?
False. We went over this in the springtime.
Yep. All right. That was just a little tricky one. I wanted to see if you remember.
Yeah.
All right. So Americans eat over 150 million hot dogs on July 4th.
Oh, they're definitely putting some glizzies down. Yeah.
That's true. There's over 160 million hot dogs that are eaten on July 4th. That is crazy. Lord. Okay.
Unless I'm at a Twins game, like a ballpark, I'm not a hot dog guy at all.
No,
I'm brats or burgers, man.
Not a big hot dog. So last one though, Yankee Doodle was originally used to mock Americans from British shoulders.
I would say true.
True. That is true. Yeah.
It was Yankee Doodle Dandy. Well, because the South, they still call us Yankees. So.
Yep. Still Yankees.
That came even another 100 and some years later.
But yeah, no, that's all I got. Some quick little rapid fire 4th of July stuff. And it's just fun to kick off summer, man. And it's,
yep.
Like I said, we're kind of taking a different pivot and direction, and we're kind of getting back into the swing of talking about deer and talking about food plots, talking about, fall. And, Luke's got some exciting trips this year. I don't. I'm going to be homing up the good old state of Minnesota. Maybe I'll come out to Wisconsin, make that happen.
Come on the river.
Yep. But we're going to have a lot of fun stuff and a lot of fun content for you guys. So thanks for listening again, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for joining us on this journey through faith in the great outdoors. We hope today's episode has inspired you to seek God's presence in the wilderness and deepen your connection with nature. If you enjoyed today's discussion, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to the Wild Faith Podcast on your favorite platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. By subscribing, you'll never miss an episode, and you'll continue to be a part of the Wild Faith Podcast community. We'd also love to hear from our listeners, so please don't hesitate to reach out with your questions, comments, or topic suggestions. You can connect with us on social media or through our website. Your feedback is important to us and helps us improve and tailor our content to better serve you. And always remember, the great outdoors isn't just a playground for hunting and fishing. It's a sanctuary for finding solace and spiritual renewal. As you gear up for that next adventure, I pray you find God's presence in the crackling of a campfire, the thrill of reeling in your catch, or the quiet solitude found in nature. Until next time, thank you for listening to the Wild Faith Podcast. Take care, and God bless.